Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now June 5th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly how Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are really going to treat everything moving forward for the new EU. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now in a phase of damage control. There's no doubt about this. We've seen a prime example of this with, of course, The Mandalorian Season 2. They're trying to do everything in their power to really make the fans happy and to really give them something to look forward to. And honestly, that is something that I'm really looking forward to because, well, we got a lot of the Clone Wars characters coming from in the form of animation being transferred into the form of live action. That's what we will be getting in The Mandalorian Season 2 and 3. Now, the thing about Bob Chapek, in case you guys have been out of the loop, is that he's been working very closely with Bob Iger, who's going to be sticking around with Disney temporarily as we go throughout this crisis that's happening around the world, is that both Iger and Chapek are really working together to develop an EU, to develop a far larger Star Wars universe than what we would have ever seen before if, these two did not work together or if Iger never even came on board to help. So we can see what they're trying to do. They're really trying to make Star Wars as big as the MCU, which is their big plan. However, what's really intriguing all has to do with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, alright? We've been talking about her for years, and Kathleen Kennedy, there's no doubt about this, that she's been very incompetent as a leader over at Lucasfilm and over all things Star Wars. So with that being said, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are busy with the new Star Wars universe, which will consist of a new Star Wars TV show, as well as new films to arrive in the near future, it's explained that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek have been working together as a team in order to create a better and brighter future for the Star Wars franchise moving forward. Now, behind the scenes, it's said that Kathleen Kennedy has been very frustrated with the Star Wars community due to her creative power being stripped away. It's said that Kennedy has been very angry with the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, for recreating the High Republic era, which was a creation by Kathleen Kennedy. It's explained that the High Republic timeline was an idea that Kathleen Kennedy came up with that would involve an era that would involve no wars in the franchise and would also introduce dinosaurs into the mix as well. Now, Bob Chapek recently delayed production on all the High Republic content so that all of it can be, of course, put to the wayside for Star Wars fans to enjoy on a more authentic era. Now, though the timeline will still be called the High Republic, it's explained that story-wise, both George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni will be making significant changes to the new Star Wars timeline to the point where it will greatly differ from Kennedy's take on Star Wars. Now, additionally, Kennedy is said to also be frustrated with the new Disney CEO over the fact that Chapek was able to erase all of Kathleen Kennedy's projects from the Star Wars franchise that was in the early development phase. Now, many of these projects had to do with those associated with Disney Plus, and even some of the books, novels, and comics that were going to use aspects from Star Wars Legends in a different way by Kennedy. Now, Chapek, since the last quarter of this year, has put all this to the wayside and on hold and cancelled it, and that the only project by Kathleen Kennedy right now that stands involves the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series for Disney Plus, which is an all-female-led Star Wars TV show. Currently, Kennedy has been in the talks with Headland on how the show will be produced, and that they have an aim to begin writing sometime in June of this year, and want to drop the TV show on the streaming service sometime in 2022 or 2023. The plan by Kennedy right now is to focus on identity politics and personal agendas in the new TV series that will give fans a different tone for the Star Wars brand. Now, this is described to be her way of getting what she wants finally for at least one project or TV show, and that they have been in the talks with Brie Larson to become a part of the new Star Wars universe as a main lead role in the show. Lastly, it's explained that Kennedy is against the idea from Chapek to release the JJ cut and is not thrilled about any of this. So, the thing I will say about Kathleen Kennedy is that, we can see that Chapek is making the right decision here. There is this timeline called the High Republic that a lot of fans were really up in arms over. A lot of fans were against this idea, and rightfully so. When you look at that actual era and what Kennedy wanted to do with the High Republic, it made no sense at all to have an era with no Star Wars per se, like no actual wars in the actual Star Wars timeline. that to me would have been a disaster in the mix. I mean, really. I mean, if you look at the brand itself, it's called Star Wars, and you're going to take away the concept of wars. To me, that just makes absolutely no sense. So, moving on forward, I will say this, is that I'm still looking forward to the High Republic. I actually do think it's going to be an interesting timeline. The fact that chaypek is allowing the creators to make significant changes. You know, it's still going to be set 200 years before, you know, the Phantom Menace. It's still going to give us that time of the Jedi where they're pretty much settling in at the rise of the Jedi Order, at the very peak of it all, before it begins to take its downturn. So with that being said, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.